can now go back to the Information Ministry, where Abdul-Hamid, CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, is addressing the press on what he says is the petroleum downstream retrospects and prospects.
Being discharged. We have the Volta Lake Transport Company that transports products by barges from Akosombo to Bupe in the Savannah region. And then from Bupe, then the distribution is done across the 5 regions of the north. We have 150 oil marketing companies and then 42 LPGMCs, being companies that deal in liquefied petroleum gas. We have 4,787 retail outlets across the country and 3 export companies. So we have other supporting companies and facilities that help to make the petroleum downstream whole. We have offshore mooring facilities, jetties, bunkering companies, tank cleaning companies, calibration companies. Anything that you do within the petroleum downstream, you are required by law to take a license from the NPA, and therefore the NPA has the responsibility for monitoring your activities. So the petroleum downstream industry, per 2020 statistics, contributes about 60 billion cedis to Ghana's GDP. That used to be computed to about 11% of GDP. So it's a huge industry and therefore a very important industry for the development of our country. We've given you statistics and breakdown of petroleum distribution and consumption across the country. The highest consumption, of course, is Greater Accra, consumes about 34% of all petroleum products, and then followed by Ashanti, 18%, and the least is 1% by the Upper West region. There are a number of issues that we've been grappling with since this management took over the running of the NPA. So the petroleum downstream is mostly bedeviled by 2 critical issues. One, the issue of illegal fuels. People are normally concerned about the quality of fuel that they buy into their engines and machines and so on and so forth. I've had people ask me, even as recent as a few days ago, whether fuel is of the same quality across all oil marketing companies. In other words, there are Ghanaian people who think that if you buy from Goil or you buy from Shell or you buy from any of the top brands or the known brands, then you are more likely to have been delivered quality fuel than if you bought from some other small oil company like a Nuru Oil or something to that effect. Let it be stated that the Quality Assurance Directorate of the NPA has standards for fuel quality in the country. In any event, it is the same fuel that is fed Star Oil, that is fed Shell, and that is fed Goil, and so on and so forth. It's from the same consignment of fuel that is imported into the country. So there is nothing like any oil marketing company having substandard fuel or that quality that is higher or better than another. So that ought to be known. Even so, as I said, people find a way to do, for want of a better term, bad things. People import fuel illegally into our country and try to smuggle that to our pump stations. So we have mechanisms for doing that. We have a security and intelligence directorate in the NPA, which is led by an experienced intelligence officer. We have serious collaboration with national security, marine police, the Navy, and etc., etc. And often we are able to make arrests And then our quality assurance directorate will come in and test the fuel. If it is found to be unwholesome for, if you want, vehicles and transportation, but has value in other spheres of national life, we conduct auctions together with the customs division of the GRA, and then the proceeds are paid into government kitty, and then the people are punished for it. So those are the things. We have problems with fraudulent UPPF claims. Now, UPPF means Unified Petroleum Price Fund. Now, that fund is what ensures that people in the Upper West and the Upper East and the Northern region, for example, buy fuel at the same price as people in the Greater Accra region. You would have noticed as Ghanaians that the cost of cement is not the same across the country. And the reason cement costs higher in Tamale and Bolga is because of transportation. So when people transport cement to Tamale, they'll put the cost of transportation on cement, and that's how come it is higher. But as far as fuel is concerned, or petroleum products are concerned, government does not allow transporters to put the cost of transportation on petroleum products. So whether you are in Bolga or wherever, you just do the transportation, and then you come to the UPPF fund to either make a claim or to pay into the UPPF fund, so that the fund now pays for the cost of transportation. I hope that explanation is clear. So that's what UPPF means. Of course, people would try to find a way to cheat the system by saying that I transported petroleum products from Accra to, say, Sunyani, when in fact he only transported it to Cape Coast, and would want to come and make a claim for transport fare, if you want, from Accra to Sunyani rather than from Accra to Cape Coast. So the NPA has put in place a mechanism for detecting all such fraudulent activities, and it's called the ECTS, the Electronic Cargo Tracking System. That allows us to track every vehicle and allows us, therefore, to monitor in real time. We have a place at the NPA called the Command Center, where there are screens across board where young people are monitoring the movements of these vehicles. So if you stop the vehicle somewhere, for example, to try to tamper with the ECTS seal to either adulterate the fuel or siphon some of it and etc., you would be caught. And if you are caught, appropriate punishment is meted out to the OMC that is concerned, or the driver, or the vehicle, and so on and so forth. Now, in terms of quality, or even if you want quantity, people often also allege that they are giving fuel at the pumps that is not commensurate with how much they paid for it. Okay, so together with the Ghana Standards Authority, we've developed what we call in the local parlance Ntiasie Krua. It's a 10-liter can that is at the station for verification purposes. So every citizen of Ghana is free to dispute if you are not satisfied that the fuel that you have been given is commensurate with how much you paid for it. You can invoke your right to verification, and then the 10-liter can would be used right in front of you to measure whether indeed you are getting value for the money that you pay. Now, all of what allows us to regulate this space is called the NPA Act. So everything that we do is backed by law, and the law that established the NPA is called the NPA Act, Act 691 of 2005. That allows us to do all the things that we are doing. The NPA Act itself is about to be reviewed by us. What I will call we call it a final draft of the new bill that we are proposing to go to the Minister for Energy. From there, it will go to the Attorney General's Department. We've held a stakeholder consultation among stakeholders in the petroleum downstream. We've received inputs and suggestions and so on. And all that has been inputted into the new bill. I'm sure when it goes to Parliament, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy would also invite memoranda from the public and on and on. But we are confident that by the close of this year, we should have repealed and replaced the MPA Act, which is Act 691. The reason it is important to replace this act is because a lot of water has passed under the bridge since the promulgation of that act. In 2005, when that act was passed, there were just about 3 BDCs and 15 OMCs. And from what I have said this morning, you now realize that we have over 200 OMCs and 45 BDCs. So first of all, the industry has outgrown its parent act. And in this era, when we are also talking about transitioning into renewable energy and cleaner fuels and etc., a lot is happening within the petroleum downstream industry, and we need to bring the law in tune with the happenings in the place. I am proud to say that in West Africa, and perhaps continent-wide, we are one of the few countries that has the highest quality of fuel. In fact, indeed, in West Africa, we are the only country that consumes a maximum of 50 ppm in terms of the sulfur content of the fuel. And the science people tell me that the heavier the sulfur content of fuel, the more likely it is to be hazardous to the environment. In other words, the lower the sulfur content, the cleaner the fuel is. That's the point I'm trying to make. And therefore, in the West Africa region, we enjoy the cleaner fuel. And now even ECOWAS has agreed that by 2025, the entire West Africa region should copy Ghana and move to 50 ppm. So there's a lot that we are doing to keep all of us safe as far as petroleum is concerned. We have something that we call a fuel marker. It's not something that you can see with your naked eye when you buy fuel from a station. But it has markers in there that allows our quality assurance people to tell whether this fuel is from a genuine source or not. And together with our inspections and monitoring directorates, our people are all across the country at any point in time. So even as we speak, there are I&M officers and quality assurance officers in various stations and depots across the country as we speak now, testing the quality.
Abdul-Hamid is CEO of the National Petroleum Authority.